get more knowledge about. Okay, so we have completed twin studies and adoption studies. Now we are going to learn a combined effect of heritability and gene environment interaction, right? In this type of a study, normally the traits that we are focused to identify, we focused on the behavior, intelligence, personality, and some mental and physical disorders, because many mental and physical disorders can be heritable. uh, Genetics, nature, and environment refers to nurture. The two important concepts are heritability and gene environment interaction. Like sometime environment becomes the trigger to that increase the effect of any particular gene. For example, um, if a child has inherited the the genes of aggressive attitude, right? And the child is raised in a way that the child is presented in a very comfortable environment with all the basic ethics and necessities. What do you think? The aggressive nature of that child will be will be more pronounced, or it will not be more obvious then?
Not
The child
obvious.
inherited the genes of aggressive behavior, but the child is raised with adoptive parents in an environment that is very comfortable and calm and with all the basic necessities. So, how it will affect the behavior of that child? What is the likeliness of occurrence of aggressive behave attitude in that child?
इट विल बी
Yes.
देयर अग्रेसिव बिहेवियर लेकिन इतना प्रोनाउंस्ड नहीं होगा क्योंकि एनवायरनमेंट सही है बिल्कुल.
Any triggering environment, if the child is exposed to sudden triggering environment, for example bullying at school, so what do you think? The same child who has been raised in a very decent manner, what is the likeliness of the rash aggressive behavior of that child? Do you think that the child could show unexpected aggressive behavior?
Yes, he will.
Yes.
Because the environment can be trigger of certain genes. If the genes are inherited, they will show a pronounced effect if the environment, the gene, remember genes can be upregulated and genes can be downregulated. Okay, so in all such cases we will learn that if the genes are inherited, an environment may enhance the trigger of that particular trait, or environment may decrease the likeliness of occurrence of that trait. Okay, I have a different example related to it. Let's see. Okay, Jennifer and Karen, they are identical twins born with the genes that absorb the fats twice as fast as an average person. Like this is the case study, right? Suppose if we are giving the same case study in exam, so I might ask you that um, define identical twins, okay? Or if I do not disclose that these are identical twin, and I uh, ask you that what is the likeliness whether they are identical twin or fraternal twin. Obviously, you don't know the deep detailed case study of these two girls, but here on the basis of current knowledge, you can see that the gender is same, so you can suspect that maybe there is more likeliness that these two girls are identical twins. Not always the case. Sometimes fraternal twins are also the same gender, but on the basis of the current knowledge, you we might give you a question in which you are predicting the whether they are identical twin or fraternal twin. Am I clear? Am I clear, beta?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
These two girls, they have inherited certain genes. They absorb fats twice as much of an average person. Like their genetic predisposition, their genomic study uh, give this clue. Okay, now Jennifer prefer eating healthy and low caloric food, while Karen prefer eating fatty and unhealthy food. Okay. Jennifer, obesity genes are not triggered, and Karen, obesity genes are triggered. So, do you think that this case study reflect the collective and triggered combined effect of environment? Both the girls inherited the same gene of adopting absorption of fats twice more than a normal person, but a triggering environment caused the Karen to push toward obesity, while a careful attitude toward conscious eating of Jennifer did not let the um, uh, fat absorption genes to be triggered. Did you understand how the two identical twins, their preferences toward environment may overall reflect in their appearance and their behavior? Is that clear?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. So be open-minded for these type of questions. Very interesting questions are asked, and I'm working on some practice worksheets. So I will give you some case study where you will practice it. Okay. There is one more interesting fact that if we are talking about inheritance, so and this time we are not considering any twin, we are considering how the traits are inherited. We are talking about this diagram is mainly focused on heritability. What is heritability? It is the proportion of variation that you have inherited from your parents. Okay. Look at this diagram very carefully. I want you to concentrate on the diagram. Maybe in childhood you have played the game, find the similarity and differences. Now look at this child, and can you tell me that which traits this child has inherited from paternal side and which traits the child has inherited from the maternal side?
From mother's side, he has gotten his hair and his height, and from father's side, he has gotten his ears and his eyes.
Okay. So at the time of gamete formation, right? Every individual, for example, if I'm talking about myself, so I have 46 chromosome. 23 of those chromosome I have inherited from my paternal side, and 23 of those chromosome I have inherited from my maternal side. That's why we are not exact copy of our father. We are not exact copy of our mother. We have inherited mixed traits, like like there is equal chance of heritability of the genes from maternal and paternal side. This is a false claim that boys or girls inherit more from their paternal side and less from their maternal side. This is not a true scientific fact. There are certain points that we need to make sure when we are talking about heritability. Uh, Heritability is not about an individual, it describes the variation in a group. Like we are explaining about what variations are being inherited. It is not a measure of how genetically caused a trait is, and it changes across environment over a period of time. Like for example, we discussed few examples where a child has inherited certain genes, but those genes are not expressing because the environment was not triggering, or whether the environment was triggering. The heritability estimate ranges from 0 to 1. If I'm talking about probability, so there is zero likeliness of heritability of certain character, or there is 100% likeliness of heritability of a character. For example, in the class we did some of the case studies, and we did some of the case studies that if the father blood group is A and mother blood group is If father blood group is A, let me write it for you. If father blood group is A and mother blood group is O, what is the likeliness of blood group B in this family? Is there any likeliness of blood group B in this family? Come on. Is there any likeliness of blood group B in this family?
I mean, it depends ना,
No,
क्योंकि
miss.
उसकी पुरानी उसकी ग्रैंडफादर उनसे नहीं आ सकती.
No. The genes we are, the set of genes we are inheriting are immediately from our parents. Yes. In this particular case study,
No, miss,
is
there
there
is
a,
no likelihood.
there is no likeliness.
एक
There is
ही हो
zero.
सकता है.
It is only blood group A is possible in this particular family. Okay. Or what if I change the scenario and make father a heterozygous A? I not. If father is I not, like heterozygous for blood group A, is still a possibility that all the children will have blood group A?
Yes.
I would suggest you to do this case. If father is heterozygous for blood group A, I not, do you think that 50% of the children are inheriting blood group A and 50% of the children are inheriting blood group O?
No, miss.
I am drawing on the board. Can you see? This is case 2 and this is case 1. My question was, if father blood group is A and mother blood group is O, is there a possibility of blood group B in this family? There is no possibility. It's second time I changed my question. I said if father is is heterozygous for blood group A and mother is still blood group O, I said that whether all the children are going to inherit blood group A, are all the children inheriting blood group A, or 50% are going to inherit blood group A and 50% are going to inherit blood group O. When we are talking about heritability, I want to clarify this point. When we are talking about heritability, the answer ranges from 0 to 1 in terms of probability, or in terms of percentage, you can show 0% to 100%. In this family, there is 0% chance of blood group B. In this family, there is 50% chance that individual will inherit blood group O or blood group A. Is that clear, beta?
Yes, miss.
Higher heritability means that the genes have a stronger influence. There are few examples. High heritability, uh, high heritability traits are height, eye color, intelligence. Intelligence moderately high, 50 to 70%, and low heritability traits are religious belief, language is spoken, and table manners. There are some traits where is more likeliness of their inheritance, but there are certain uh, traits where the chances of heritability decreases. That's why it has been identified that it's not necessary that the children always behave on the basis of what they have inherited. I attended a bayan where I heard where I listened from the speaker that we need to choose our friend circle wisely, because they are actually our strong environment, and environment is strongly influencing us. Uh, it is said that our next generation is going to have just 10% of religious belief that we have. Now, I think we know ourselves very well. No one can judge us better than us that how strongly we practice our religion, right? If I am practicing my religion at a, um, at a very in a very irregular manner, so I cannot expect that it will be strongly inherited in my generation, and at least my generation will be doing better than me, or better, or at least equivalent to me, because 10% of it is inherited. There is very low heritability of religious belief. uh, I heard a child psychologist कि आपके बच्चे का आपका जो बच्चा होता है वो अपने दोस्त के ईमान पे होता है. लाइक इफ योर फ्रेंड सर्कल is not practicing their religious beliefs, or it is if you are influenced with a bad company, so it is going to affect you. It your parents brought up, your parents inheritance is not going to affect you as much as your environment is affecting you. How heritability is measured? Okay, if we are talking about monozygotic twins, there are 100% similar genes, so heritability of a gene is 100%. If we are talking about a dizygotic twin, so 50% of genes are similar, so heritability is 50%. If we are talking about adoption studies, it is why we do adoption studies to compare between biological parents and adoptive parents, and trait measured across multiple family members. Sometimes family studies are conducted where if we are going to study the behavior of one particular individual, we need to see that what is the immediate family genetic trait, how this trait has been inherited in the immediate family. There are two different types of heritability. Broad sense heritability, it includes all the genetic influences, additive genes, dominant genes, and gene environment interaction. And the second type of heritability is narrow sense. It includes additive gene effect, most commonly used in research because additive effect pass from parents to children. I remember when I was teaching dominant recessive case, one of your class fellow asked me a question that can this be possible that due to the presence of one gene, the other gene express itself more or less. So this is called the additive gene effect. The two genes are working together. For example, if we are talking about the feather color in a bird, and we say that gene A is responsible for blue color in feathers, and gene small a refers to white feathers, right? There is another set of genes, capital B. If capital B is inherited, it means that it will be dark blue color. And if there is a small b, it means that the individual will not show any color. Now I'm making different combinations and I'm asking you to think over it. Capital A, small a, capital B, small b. Remember, both A and B are dominant genes. So what do you think? What will be the feather color of this individual? Will it show blue color or it will not show the blue color? Capital A refers to blue shade. If it is along with at least one capital B, the color will be darker. So what do you think? What are you expecting for this particular genetic combination?
It will be a different shade of blue.
It will be
Dark.
a dark blue. Okay. Now think about this. What do you think? Is this individual going to be a colored feather bird or a white feather bird?
White.
Why? Because capital A does not exist here, right? What about this individual? Will it be a colored feather bird or a colorless bird, like white feather bird?
Colored होगा लेकिन light blue होगा.
It will not be a darker color because capital B is not there to enhance the color. Am I clear? This is called additive gene effect. Sometimes two genes are interacting together and one gene is giving an additive effect to the other gene. Is that clear? Is that clear, beta?
Yes, yes.
Gene involvement interaction occur when the effect of gene depend upon the environment and the effect of environment depend upon or the effect of environment depends upon someone's gene, like both are similar in different ways. Why gene environment interaction matter? I strongly suggest you to focus this slide because in case study you are going to reframe your answer in this manner. Two people can experience the same environment but respond differently because of their genes. Similarly, two people may have similar gene, but they can show different outcomes depending on the environment. I gave you two examples. One, the triggering behavior of a child, the other, the wise choice of diet among the identical twins. So once a case study will be given, an examiner asks you to describe the nature versus nurture. So you will consider this slide while you are writing your answer. You will elaborate on the basis of this slide. If you want, please note it down. Slide number 21 is for the reference of case studies, that if we are given a case study and examiner asks you compare nature versus nurture. So you will be focusing in this dimension with respect to case study. Examples of gene environment interaction. Some examples are given over here. For example, depression. Depression is basically a psychological disorder. A person with genetic A person with genetic vulnerability to depression may occur only develop if the stressful event happen. Remember, depression is heritable. but the triggering environment will cause this gene to activate. Another person without vulnerable gene might stay mentally healthy and uh, even under stress because the person do not have inherited the that particular gene. We just discussed about obesity. Same goes for intelligence or IQ. Children with high genetic potential for intelligence show it only in enriched environment. Um, Good nutrition, quality schooling, parental support. In poor environment, IQ potential tend to be suppressed. Effect of gene environment interaction. It can be passive gene environment interaction where parents provide the gene and environment. This is a case of passive gene environment interaction. Smart parents give smart genes and they also provide uh, a good surrounding environment so a child can adopt. The other type of gene environment interaction is evocative or reactive gene environment interaction. Your gene cause other to respond to you in a certain way. For example, a naturally calm baby parents interact calmly, and highly reactive baby parents may respond differently.
मिस
Yes,
अगर दोनों पेरेंट्स इंटेलिजेंट हैं और उन्होंने अच्छा एनवायरनमेंट भी दिया हुआ है तो मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स हमें मूवीज में भी दिखाया जाता है कि जो बच्चे होते हैं वो फिर भी लाइक उन वो उस फील्ड की तरफ नहीं होते हैं, वो मोर क्रिएटिव फील्ड की तरफ जाते हैं और वो इतना इंटेलिजेंस शो नहीं करते, तो व्हाई इज दैट देन?
I would say it will be the case of gene environment interaction. We need to see that how much time the child is exposed to the surrounding environment. If the child is, we just discussed that intelligence is a low scaled um, heritable trait, right? It is not highly heritable trait. It is low scale heritable trait, and it is equally influenced with the surrounding environment. Surrounding environment does not refer to that your book and library and your exact environment. We need to see that how much time the child is spending at home, how much time the child is spending with his friends, the friend circle or the the environment in which the child is exposed matters a lot. Active gene environment interaction. People select environment that match with their genetic tendencies. For example, social child seek friends. You might have noticed like you all belong to different backgrounds, but once you start socializing at university, uh, you might be surprised that you prefer the company of the people who have this much more similar likeliness. For example, there are few group of students who like poetry, so they used to sit together. So this is a case in which you are actively selecting your environment. People select their environment uh, that match to their genetic tendencies. For example, social child seek the children who are socialized. Introvert people prefer to accompany with more introvert people, right? So in our class, we can identify there are few students uh, who are not very interactive. They prefer to interact together. So it is the active seeking of environment based on their genetic tendencies. Musically inclined child joins the band. Athletic children choose to pick sports. Like this is also called as niche picking. Gene environment correlation versus interaction. Gene and environment combine to produce different outcomes, like the way we behave and interact together collectively. It is not only the effect of gene, it is the combined effect of gene and environment. One modifies the it affect the other. I cannot modify the gene, but changing environment will likely to affect the gene environment correlation. Gene influence the type of environment a person is existing, or environment correlates with the genetic tendency. Okay, this is also a very important keyword. Maybe the examiner give you as a keyword to define it. The additive effect and epigenetics. Epigenetics is a study how environmental factors can change the gene expression without altering the DNA sequence. For example, trauma, stress, nutrition, early childhood experience may turn on or turn off certain genes that potentially reflect in the behavior of that particular child. Uh, how the epigenetic mechanism work? Uh, when a gene DNA methylation is a chemical process, like there is a sequence of DNA that is a particular sequence of DNA is there. For example, suppose this is a segment of DNA. If this segment of DNA undergo methylation, a chemically methyl group is attached to it. In that, sorry, if this particular gene undergo methylation, this gene may turn off and get silent. When I introduced the concept of genetics, I gave you an idea that if a person who was used to of working in open field and the person started to work in an office, over a period of time, the same person skin tone will cut down, like instead of dark wheatish complexion, the individual will show less skin tone, lighter skin tone compared to the previous experience. Why? Because melanin production gene has been turned off. For example, if this segment of gene is responsible for melanin production, right? It is responsible for wheatish complexion in individual. But less exposure to sunlight cause the methylation of this gene. The gene will turn off, the gene will get silent, and now too much melanin pigment will not be synthesized in that individual, that will result a lighter shade. There is another way in which genes can be modified. Sometimes the histone protein, the DNA is wrapped around histone protein. This is a segment of DNA and it is actually wounded around the histone protein. You might have seen children when they used to play cricket, in order to increase the bounce of a ball, they wind electric tape, plastic tape around the ball, right? Think that tape is the DNA and the ball is the histone protein. So histones are basically proteins around which DNA has been wrapped.